What is up, everybody? It's ZXRyuu. Today we're going to be revisiting my childhood. We're going to play some Berenstain Bears Camping Adventure. This was one of the first games that I got for the Sega Genesis, and my parents bought it for me when I was like 5. So I've had this thing for a really long time because I'm 30 years old now. So anyway, so let's see here. There's 3 difficulties. There's Bear Cub, Brown Bear, and Grizzly Bear. I'm going to do it on the medium difficulty because we're going to kind of speed run through this. I'm not going to do it on hard mode right now. So, and the button configuration is really simple. Pick up tool, use tool, and jump. So A, B, and C. So let's start with Brother Bear. So I really liked the Berenstain Bears when I was young. I used to go to the library at the school I was at, Temple Baptist Academy, and I would read the Berenstain Bears books there a lot. And so because I had this game, and so I'd like to read the books. And so I don't remember anything about the books or any of that stuff right now, just because it's been so long since I've since I've read any of the books or anything like that. So anyway, in this game we have 4 stages. There's one hidden stage. So you go through the stages and you pick up different items for points and also for different like bonus levels. So the special things that we're trying to pick up in this stage are diamonds. So you need different amounts of them for whichever difficulty you're playing on in order to access the bonus stages. And in order to get to the Haunted Forest, you have to have gotten at least one bonus stage per one of the 4 levels. So there's like 2 or 3 sections in each stage that you have to go through. So we're gonna just kind of quickly go through here and pick up. Gonna get 20 diamonds so that we can get the bonus section of this stage, and then we'll just kind of quickly finish and go to the next one. So some of the mechanics of this game, I mean, it's a really simple platformer. So you can short hop if you hold, or if you just like tap the button. You can short hop if you full hop by holding the button. So there's different tools that you can pick up. So in this level, there's pickaxes and there's rocks, and you kind of have an unlimited amount of rocks that you can throw. You can use the rocks to hit different enemies. The picnic basket that you just saw there will heal you up to 6 hearts, and then there's kind of different items that will heal you a different amount. So like the hot dog back there heals you half a heart. The hearts heal you 1 heart. So the picnic baskets are the things that give you the most health. And in the bonus stages, it's just your opportunity to get more points by either like bopping enemies or picking up more diamonds or picnic baskets or whatever. You can kind of momentum shift in this game. Like if you jump forward and then hold back a certain amount, you can kind of shift your momentum to a different direction, but not a whole lot. So I mean, you can kind of, depending on where you are in your jump, depends on where you can momentum shift. So a lot of the enemies in this game, in order to defeat them, you just jump on them, although that doesn't work for some enemies. But most enemies, if you jump on them, they'll just kind of explode or disappear or whatever. So they just poof. So the 3 difficulties do some different things. You get kind of less lives, and 0 does not count as a life in this game. So you just kind of get down to 1, and then if you lose 1, that's the end of it. So so there's kind of the 3 difficulties: the Bear Cub, the Brown Bear, and then the Grizzly Bear. The Brown Bear difficulty, which is the one I'm playing on, requires that you get 15 of the special items to get to the bonus stages, and also to enemies and obstacles and stuff only hurt you half a heart. In the Grizzly Bear difficulty, you get 3 lives, and everything does 1 full heart of damage. Certain things will do 2 hearts of damage, but it kind of depends on the enemy. So now that we've gotten, you know, the 1 bonus stage, we can just kind of continue on here. So the manual kind of suggests that you try and find all the bonuses for each section, and they are, you know, different. It's not the same one every time, which is nice. A lot of these are set patterns. That star thing that you saw over there on the side is an extra life. And only certain bonuses have those, but each of these bonuses does have a set pattern. So you can, if you can kind of figure out what the pattern is, then you can get kind of the optimal items and put yourself in a good position to get everything. So I think on the Grizzly Bear difficulty, the bosses, I think, hurt 2 hearts of damage per hit, so, I mean, they're pretty tough. And then the, just the normal enemies will hurt 1, and then the, bosses hurt, I think, 1 heart of health. It's been a while since I played this game, so part of it I'm guessing. But I mean, this game actually, I don't know if there's like any major glitches or anything with it, but when I was playing the game casually, you know, as a very small child, I wasn't, you know, keying into a lot of that stuff. I was just enjoying the game, so. I guess kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about is probably on the video stream or the recording. I guess I don't stream anymore just because my internet here at my house is not good enough to stream. So me, CSAN, Fire, we kind of stopped streaming after a while because when CSAN moved out of his parents' house and into an apartment, we kind of just stopped streaming because the internet was only good enough at our parents' house, and I don't really use the internet for a whole lot, you know, so we only have a certain amount of bandwidth that we can mess around with, so as a result, we just kind of record in high quality now and then just upload stuff to YouTube, which is what we've been doing, so. What I started doing instead of streaming is I started looking into how to make the recordings better and stuff like that. So recently, for the Dream Marathon, if you watched that, I picked up a PVM, or professional video monitor, to kind of record some stuff in higher quality. It's a high-end CRT. If you're unfamiliar with those kind of things, they usually run for a lot of money, but I was able to get one from somebody who I just kind of reached out to him on Craigslist and said, hey, we're thinking about doing a gaming marathon, kind of in Jesus' name, I guess, so that we can kind of outreach to some people and also just, you know, hang out with our friends, because this is one of the things we really like doing is playing games. And I mean, as a result, you know, we try and keep the stream G-rated, just so that it's more family friendly. You know, like games like this, you know, they might seem really silly, but you know, the reason why I'm playing this is just because it was one of the games that I played really early on and just really enjoyed from my childhood. So we keep the stream G-rated. We try not to say say bad things, or try not to get involved in just in political things, because I mean everybody's opinions all differ on a lot of that stuff, and we try and just keep things about the games rather than about other things. So I mean I'm not against talking about politics or this kind of thing, but it's just we just try and keep that stuff kind of away from the games, just because we want to just stay focused on what we came here to do. I mean, if we wanted to do something with politics, we would do a political channel and talk about that stuff there rather than here. So so we just try and keep some of that, keep things like that to a minimum, if at all, depending on what's going on. So, but like I said, again, I'm not against talking politics or whatever. I just for the audience that we're trying to reach, and also for just for what we like to do when we hang out together. Me and my friends, we just try and keep things, focused on the games that we're playing. So. So, and I guess for the, I guess just, I don't know if anybody's interested in this. I mean, you can kind of, make mention of it in the comments or whatever. If you think, it's silly to hear about what equipment we're using to record or play games or whatever, that's fine. Just kind of mention every once in a while some of the things that we use, in case others want to kind of do the same thing. So I guess one point of note is if you're falling off of an area, that does not count as jumping on an enemy. It counts as falling, so you can still take damage from it. But if you make sure you jump ahead of time, then you'll land on the enemies and they'll take damage. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here on stuff for commentary, just for different things that we've been up to working on. So so anyway, I guess back to equipment. So right now I'm using a Model 2 Genesis to play this game. The reset button, like I said, is broken. Or maybe I didn't say that, I'm not sure. But the reset button doesn't work, so every time I want to reset, I have to power off the console. I haven't taken it apart to try and fix it, because I'm not sure if it's just the contact is not working anymore or what the deal is with it. But I don't have that many games for the Sega Genesis, so so I just have kind of left it alone. I haven't bothered taking it apart. Okay, I'm going to avoid that for right now, because there's some more fish still to get for the bonus. I think I need one more. So that should be easy enough to come across. So anyway, for the equipment that, so I'm using the Model 2 Genesis. I'm playing on a Sony PVM. I think it's a 1354Q or a 1342Q. I can't remember exactly what the model number is. But it has BNC connections for, you can use BNC to RCA adapters, so you can hook up composite to it. It's got an S-video in, but it doesn't have an S-video out, unfortunately. So I had to kind of get some extra equipment to, record S-video connections. So, and I'm using a, let's see if I can jump over this. Okay, good. So I'm using JP21 connections. There's nothing, if you want to use SCART, Euro SCART, or, RGB21, there's different names for these connections or whatever, but there's nothing wrong with you know, one standard or the other. I'm finding that Euroscart is kind of the more, I guess, I don't know, just the more common standard now, I guess. JP21 isn't used as much, but the reason why I use it is because when I first started getting into recording and streaming stuff, you know, back in 2015, I guess now at this point, like almost 5 years ago now, I just liked the FrameMeister because it was the one piece of equipment that was out at the time. The OSSC hadn't been created yet, so as a result I use JP21 to connect to the FrameMeister with a little bit more ease. So I've got a JP21 to Model 2 Genesis cable, and then I also have a I've got a cable that's BNC to JP21 that I got from WookieWin on eBay. You can email him and you can kind of convert the Euroscart one to JP21 if you need it. But I use that on the output of my PVM to go into my FrameMeister. And unfortunately too, my PVM, since it's kind of a lower end one, it doesn't really have that many options for audio. So I have a whole just different setup for audio. I'm using a Behringer soundboard. I don't remember the model number of it right now. But I'm using a soundboard with some headsets. I've got this Audio-Technica headset that I kind of saw from the Awesome Games Summer Games Done Quick. They were using these headsets and they sounded really good, so I just decided to pick up a couple for myself for that. They are kind of pricey, so the time when I picked these up, I had a lot more expendable income than I do now, so I'm still just trying to use equipment that I just previously bought to, you know, to save money. So I've got all the audio routed into the headset, and I'm probably going to do some adjustment to the audio setup here soon so that we can do more stuff with races and other types of, I don't know, just other types of things with a little bit more ease, because right now the trouble's always kind of been with our audio setup. You know, I haven't spent a whole lot of time trying to figure out audio until recently. I was always really big into doing video, which is why I wanted to get a PVM and some other stuff to get going with that. But I don't know, it just never really, audio was never really a priority, but I kind of ran across several problems recently with audio, and so I thought, you know, this is probably as good a time as any to work on getting audio sorted out, so, which also shout-outs to Sorted Food if you're watching. So let's see here, there's that. So yeah, I'm using the FrameMeister to capture video, which is what you're seeing on the stream over there, or the recording. The stream, you know what I mean. There's so much that goes into recording and streaming games. Just if you're watching something on Twitch or this kind of thing, I mean, there's so much that goes into that. I thought at first, I was like, oh, this will be really simple. You know, I'll get some stuff to record and you know, a computer that's good enough to stream or whatever, and that's all I'll really need. But there's a lot that goes into making games, you know, look really good and stream really nice and all this other stuff. So I mean, it's definitely not as simple as it looks. And also to the, you know, even just recently we upgraded to doing 60 frames a second rather than 30 frames a second for our capture so that it look a little nicer. but I mean that requires quite a bit of computer horsepower to do. So I mean, even to record these goofy, silly games from your childhood in any in a really good quality. If you want a good quality, then there's a lot that goes into it. If you don't really care as much and you just want to do composite video or this kind of thing, then your setup is a lot easier, and you can just use generic upscalers, and then use something like OBS, the open source broadcaster software, which is what I'm using to make all these videos. You can just de-interlace on there so that you don't have weird screen flicker or this kind of thing. So I mean, I really enjoy doing equipment setup and recording games and stuff. I've always been really fond of recording. Even when I was young, I had a VHS camcorder from my grandparents and recorded my friends and I doing silly stuff. Like even the first video was recorded on that. Was recorded using that, where just pointed a video camera at a TV that actually was about the size of this PVM. It was not very big. It's only like a 13-inch like this PVM is. So in a sense, I've just got a really fancy version of my childhood TV, I guess. But yeah, if you want to get PVMs, you usually have to look on Craigslist or eBay, but they can be really expensive. Even for small, low-end ones, they can be really expensive. So you just have to kind of keep your eyes open, and also just if you want a big PVM, you're gonna pay a lot of money for it. They're really expensive because they're really rare, and just they just, I don't know. I mean, because they don't make them anymore, and what they did make, like what Sony made or what JVC made or some of these other companies, I mean, they're now in the hands of retro gamers for the most part. So, and that's kind of what I consider myself to be as a retro gamer. I don't know. I'm really not big into Fortnite. It's like every time I hear Fortnite, I kind of cringe actually a little bit. So I'm sorry if that's off-putting to some of our viewers, but I have never been a fan of shooter games. I don't know. I really don't like them that much. I just log on to servers and die. But I mean, it's probably just because I don't play them that much. I mean, the only games I ever really played that were shooters were with my friend, and it was like Halo or games kind of like that were a little bit more sci-fi. So I guess I should point out on the stream recording window, the little blinking dot things that you see down at the bottom. The thing about kind of up-converting some of these old games is you see a lot more on the screen than you would just normally. Like on a CRT, all of that stuff is hidden, which is it was meant to be. But when you play it on an HD TV, it's all right there for you to see. So you can kind of see some of the things that were hidden back behind the magic of TV at that point. For video quality, it kind of starts out with it starts out with RF. You can do some stuff with RF, like patching your video through a VCR or something when you record it to make it look a little nicer. But honestly, the RF signal is just not too great. We actually recorded Radical Rex for the Dream Marathon on a VCR using coax because at that point I didn't have this PVM. I got it a little bit later. Because if we had it at that point, I would have used this because it has, you know, a lot cleaner video. It's RGB, you know, all that stuff, all that good jazz. But recording in composite does give you kind of like a weird, like rainbow effect almost on the window. It's kind of weird. Because the FrameMeister, when you kind of put it through from another source, doesn't like it sometimes. So the FrameMeister is kind of picky. It's nice. I mean, I really like it. It works really well for 240p. It works pretty well for 480i, but it kind of struggles with 480p for some reason. It doesn't like it. You know, and then it looks really good for, you know, 720p and up. So, you know, 1080p. And there's even some support for connecting it to 4K TVs now, which is nice. But yeah, then you go up to composite video. Composite video has the Luma, the Chroma, and the sync signal all on one line. So, you know, you have all the colors and all the sync on one line, and it just makes a muddied mess. So I mean, it's just, and it's super blurry. Like when you try and record it through the FrameMeister, it's just kind of blurry. Remember, kids, don't throw rocks at squirrels. Be nice to our animals. I don't know why this is cartoony. I mean, it's not, you know, don't compare this to like violence against animals or whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean, don't go throwing rocks at your neighborhood squirrels or skunks. Don't jump on skunks. They'll stink. So then you go up to S-Video, which separates the color in chroma and the luminance. So it, you know, it looks a lot better. Like if you want to record something and you only have access to S-Video, S-Video is pretty great. You know, it's not as awesome as RGB is, but it's certainly, you know, a lot better than composite is. It's probably I don't know, I would say a 60% jump. You know, if RGB is 100 and composite is, you know, if RF is 0, then the jump from composite video being maybe 20 to S-Video is pretty great. It's up to about 60. And then you can do component, which is pretty good. And then RGB is, you know, probably the highest you can get right now, at least until somebody invents something else. But I mean, RGB has been around for a really long time. It just was not readily available to us here in North America on any of our televisions. I mean, we had RF, composite, and S-Video. And then we got component way later on. But these fancy CRTs have been around in security and you know, surveillance and some other stuff for quite a while. So, but yeah, trying to record games and stuff is kind of a hassle. I mean, I like it. It's really fun. It's just kind of a hassle. So I sometimes spend more time tinkering with settings and everything else than I do actually playing games. But I think for now, I've got a setup that's, you know, a little bit more ready to go on a more permanent basis to record and stuff. So, So, and I actually think the RGB video out of the Genesis it looks really good. I mean, it's pretty nice. So, the thing I'm looking to do next is to upgrade my video quality for my PlayStation 2. My PlayStation 1, unfortunately, is broken. The lens on it is shot, and I didn't really feel like spending the money to repair it or get a new one. So I have a PS2 that still works. It's a 79,000 series, which is kind of up in the air as to whether or not the reliability of it or the backwards compatibility of it is as accurate, because I know like the 75,000 series had some pretty bad compatibility problems. So, but it's a PS2 Slim that's been modified with a flip top mod. So we'll get into that later when I record some of the other games from my childhood later on. So, yeah, so I mean, this Berenstain Bears game is really simple. There's not a whole lot to it. I mean, there's 3 buttons and move, so, which a lot of the games that I had on the Genesis were like that. They just were really simple, and I just loved them. I mean, I played this game a lot. Mainly just trying to figure out how to get to the Haunted Forest, because for the longest time with, again, reading the manual, I didn't know how to get there, so I played it a lot to try and figure that out. But yeah, I've been playing games for 25 years now, because I got the Genesis when I was about 5, and I'll play some more of those games later on. But I just thought I'd start here, go in alphabetical order, and see where we ended up. So yeah, I've got kind of this room that I'm playing in. It's not really a studio. It's just a back room of our house, and I just set up all my games and stuff back here. My wife was generous enough to let me have the setup back here for my games and stuff. So just as long as it's not encroaching on the rest of the house, that's the important thing. Because games are not everything. Games are fun, but they're not everything. So, a funny story from my childhood. One of my friends that I have not seen in years, like literally years, he ended up getting stung by a bee in his ear canal, like in his ear, and so that really freaked him out. And so I think about him whenever I see these bees. So shout outs to Tommy or Thomas Taff if you're watching. send me a chat or send me a comment. But yeah, I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings, so which is why I ended up playing a lot of games, and spent some time outside, which was good. Had some friends in the neighborhood, and so we'd get outside. Usually when our parents would say, okay, you've been playing too many games or been playing too much Pokemon, get outside and do something. so we would do that. If this is a bald eagle, Never, under any circumstance, throw rocks at bald eagles. Duh. What are we teaching our children? Are we teaching our kids to go out and throw rocks at animals and, be awful? Like, what is this teaching our kids? So this is the second to last stage. I guess one thing I should point out is when you're on any kind of rolling object, you won't take damage from enemies nearby. This is probably the easiest level, the nature walk. And also that quicksand doesn't immediately hurt you, but if you sit in it for long enough, it will. You can use the net to pick up different items as you're going along. It's not just for butterflies, and also too, you can just like, walk into them or jump into them or whatever, and you'll get them. Don't go playing with bobcats either, or lynxes. I'm not really sure if that's a bobcat or a lynx, but or don't go play with snakes either. That's bad news. Or also some monkeys. So I'm not a very calm platformer, as you probably have seen by now. I tend to spaz out a lot when I'm playing these games. So, because I'm always concerned I'm going to fall off and then I just freak out anyway, so. Also, shout outs to Coyote Peterson and Bullet Ants. If you're watching. Not Coyote Peterson, the Bullet Ants. Kidding! So there's a lot of secret passages, so you have to walk through, try and look through different areas to walk through walls and stuff. And also you can extend your jump with the net as well, which I think is kind of funny. You can kind of boost yourself up a little. So, I mean, being an only child, I've got a lot of single-player games. The only multiplayer games that I have, I would just play with, C-Sand, Fire, some of my other friends, and I don't honestly have too many multiplayer games. I got a lot more one-player games, so that's one of the reasons why I decided to go revisiting some of my childhood games, was that it gives me a chance to kind of play through some games I haven't played for a while and, think, was this game good or was this game just bad or whatever? So, I mean, I think to a certain degree some of these games just have, a special place for me because they were the games that I played as a child and ended up beating and, finally getting good at. So some good habits came out of these games, and some bad habits, like the freaking out and mashing left and right. This is one of the easiest bonus levels too. You can get so many in here just by jumping and swinging. Watching the pattern, the up and down oscillation. So there's 100,000 points. So also the Genesis sound quality is pretty good. The Model 1, I guess, is supposed to have some of the best audio, but I've never noticed any really big problems with using this this particular model. It sounds fine to me. So, but I mean, I'm not a stickler for 100% accuracy. I mean, I try and get pretty close, but I'm probably more than 90% than 100%. Because it just takes a lot of time to get, you know, track down all the equipment, track down all the hardware, and just everything that you would need to, wow, again, make everything kind of the best it can be, so. But yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, see there, that was a kind of a boost to get up onto that platform by using the net. Sorry about that. So I started getting into more like old tech, I guess, when I started realizing I was a little bit more sensitive to lag, because I mean even this controller sometimes is messing with me, but I decided to start playing on a CRT because it was more responsive. There wasn't any lag, because I was noticing on some games it was just really messing me up to play directly on the FrameMeister or on an HD TV. So there's kind of there's just different video modes just work better in different equipment, and kind of up till about component, you know, with some exceptions, like I guess just different resolutions. There's just different lag, so 240p works really well. I mean, really well on a CRT. And you know, 480i, 480p if you have a really fancy CRT PVM. And also, Brother Bear doesn't take fall damage. I don't think there is fall damage in this game. There is if you land on stuff, though. And so, yeah, like I said, all of these are a set pattern, where the enemies spawn, where the butterflies come out, where the snakes are, all of it. It's all predetermined. So if you can figure that out, you can, you know, get all of the items and all of the bonuses and things in each of these. Sorry, my headset was hurting me a little. So for 240p, it works really well on a CRT. The FrameMeister is good, but it's got a frame and a half. So I guess let's do some math. Math is fun, right? And actually, I'll tease my next game with that. So the next game that I'm gonna be playing is a math-based game. So it's another one from my childhood. So also on the Genesis. So if we think about some math, so we've got depending on the game, it can run at 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second. You can get some really oddball ones like arcade machines where they run at like 61.7, you know. Regular NTSC runs at or like 59.94. So there's some different frame rates. So the FrameMeister has a frame and a half of lag, which means that we're on 60 frames a second, so that's 1/60th of a second. But then if you do the frame and a half, you know, so it should be kind of indistinguishable. You know, like you shouldn't notice it really, but if you look at a CRT and the FrameMeister right next to each other, they're off a little bit. And it's that little bit of a difference that can sometimes mess you up, especially in like timing game, rhythm games, you know, just different kinds of games. It'll mess up your inputs, and you know, it won't be as fun. You know, you'll be fighting against the frame drop, or not the frame drops, but just the input rate and other things. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I started looking into getting higher quality recordings and things, because if you want to kind of play on a CRT that's lagless and record in a really high quality, you need something that can split the signal and can take RGB. So it's a PVM. So I picked up one of those, and it's really nice. I highly recommend if you can get one. They're really nice. Okay, so now we have a mountain lion or something. A liger. I don't know what that is. Cougar? I don't know what that thing is. Okay, so we unlocked the haunted forest. So this is the last stage. And I was so psyched to hear that music the first time. I was like, "Oh, this music is sick." And I don't know. I really like music. Music is one of my favorite things, and I also like you know, game soundtracks. I know that's kind of cheesy, but I like game soundtracks. So. So in this stage, we're picking up flashlights. How you can jump on ghosts, I have no idea, because they're not really, they're more ethereal, or not even, you know, non-material, so, I don't know. Plot armor, y'all. Oh, come on. And some of the enemies you can't defeat. You can just jump on them. That actually freaks me out, really. You know, that more, you know. There's jump scares in these games. And yes, those are spikes down there. So, but standing on the platforms, you know, to a certain degree won't hurt you. So. See if we can find another flashlight, since the end is right over there. I guess I took the golden path right to the end. Okay, there we go. There's the bonus. if you hold jump while you're landing on enemies, you'll jump higher. So, I mean, in certain situations, it's advantageous to hold the button. But I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do with the jump physics, which is nice. So, and these platforms are kind of unkind, or they can be, depending on the rotation, because if you land on the spikes before landing on the platform, you'll get kind of bumped off, so... Doing really bad. Okay, there we go. Also, don't jump on porcupines. That would be bad. So I don't know. I just think it's fun to go back and play old games from your childhood again. You know, see, you know, was it worth all the hype, or was it just a terrible game and you just, you know, got used to it, had fun playing it, or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I think this game is pretty well put together for what it is. You know, even though it may be, you know, it's like it's the Berenstain Bears. I mean, come on. This is not like high budget, high priority game, but you know, if you care about the game and you care about, you know, your audience and stuff, I think it comes through in how it works. So I mean, this game is not very complicated, but I don't know. I still think it's fun. It is really predictable with the bonus games and stuff, but I don't know. Ah, if I can make that. This game's trying to make me think like I know stuff. Oh, nice. Got the bonus right there at the end. I do think those ghost guys are kind of cute, though. I don't know. They're just kind of funny. And the highest number of lives you can have in this game is 9. So. Alright. This should be the last level. So, and I've been trying to, oh yeah, the rats can jump in this one. I forgot about that. I've been trying to upload a lot more just varied content. I know it seems like we, you know, C-San, Fire, and I just play kind of the same games over and over. So I try and break some of that up and do a more wide variety of games. So, because we do play a lot of games and do enjoy a lot of games, So, you know, this is kind of another kind of point in that direction, I guess. So. You know, so again, we try and keep the channel family friendly. So if you know, if your kids want to watch this game or whatever, you know, they probably won't understand half of what I'm talking about with, you know, video quality or whatever, but they might enjoy seeing this. I don't know. So, you know, and if there's other games or things that you'd like to see, you know, make a note in the comments. We'll see what we can do. You know. So we like entertaining you, the viewer, and you know, we like talking about the games we love, and you know, just really enjoy playing games and really enjoy recording them. So at least I do. It's one of my favorite things. So. Oh yeah, and this final boss like freaked me out because I was like, oh, it's a werewolf? Kind of looks like Wile E. Coyote to a certain degree though, except a little bit more sinister. Or just something out of a fairy tale. And what better to end the day than with roasting marshmallows. So that's all of the Berenstain Bears Camping Adventure. I don't know if there were any more or not, but this is the only one that I have, so played this game to death. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys liked the game, the commentary, the video, and everything. If you do, throw a like. Usually for likes, we just try and play more of that game. Like if you want to see it again or see different parts of it or different things related to it, you know, give it a like. And if you, you know, if there's anything interesting that we talk about in the comments, you know, make a mention of it there. Or, you know, if there's anything we talk about in commentary, you know, make a note of it in the comments. And, you know, we're open to chatting. And again, we just want to thank you all for watching. And yeah, so this is kind of the start of a series on exploring games or revisiting games from my childhood. So anyway, so thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.